Okay, tour stop 2 today is a hardwood plantation, and it's presented by Ross Pryor, our host. And the information covered in that tour will be converting a diseased white spruce plantation to mixed oak and red pine, doing forest management in the midst of a spongy moth outbreak, two-line chestnut borer issues, and then also Ross will give a property history of this location as well.
This is stand 2. This is the hardwood plantation. We're going to start with the big picture. The big picture is that at the time of European settlement, this was a climax northern hardwood forest and was full of large hardwood trees. When Europeans came in and started logging the property, started logging the area, they first took out the white pine. White pine will float, so that's what's harvested first, was put into the rivers and floated down to the sawmills. Hardwood does not, logs do not float, so they were left behind. So it wasn't until they built the railroad. Well, we came in on South Right-of-Way Road, and South Right-of-Way Road is actually an old logging railroad. That's why it's there. So that's why that railroad was built there. On my deed in 1902, the Peshtigo Lumber Company bought this property, and I'm sure they bought it to log it. And that railroad was in there till 1913. So somewhere between 1902 and 1913, this property was cut off. The logs were all put on the railroad and hauled down to Peshtigo to the sawmill. So that's what happened. All this was cut off. There was no market for small stuff, so there was no pulp or anything. So the tops, the small trees, they were just all left here growing. So after that was cut off, the only part of this 184-acre property that was cleared is this little 2 acres right here was the only part on this whole property that was turned into a field. And I don't know why. There's some really nice soils up on the hill, but for whatever reason, different ownership, this was the only part that was cleared. So
House or lumber camp?
What?
House or a lumber camp. You know, this could have been a part of the lumber camp.
Well, actually, the lumber camp was down the road a bit. But,
okay.
I lost my train of thought there.
It was a field.
Okay, so in 1958, after going through multiple hands, Badger Paper Mill in Peshtigo purchased this and added it to their industrial forest lands. And this area they planted to a spruce plantation. This 2-acre field here, they planted to a spruce plantation. In 1996, for whatever reason, they decided they didn't need industrial forest, and they put them up for sale, and I bought them. And that's how I ended up with this. I bought 3 40s here. I sold 12 acres across the road to the neighbor so he could unlock, and kept 108 here. And then I ended up buying 76 next to it in 2018. So there's 184 here altogether. So this was a spruce plantation here when I bought this in '96. This is on the southern end of the range of spruce, and the spruce plantation got a bad infestation of needle cast, and about half of the trees had died. So I decided over the winter of 17-18, I went ahead and logged the spruce, and it's three semi-loads I ended up with. So I have this bare area. What do I do with it? Well, again, most of this area is northern hardwoods and swamp hardwoods, so I thought it'd be nice to have some more oak. So I decided to plant this to oak seedlings. So there are red, white, and bur oak here. Okay, in the early 20s, in the early 2000s, I had planted some other hardwoods in the back, and if you take the afternoon tour, we will go back and look at some of those. And I first learned about tree shelters. And tree shelters, they call them tree tubes, and they were new. They came out of England, and the idea is you planted a tree, you put these around them, you put in a wooden stake, the tree grew like crazy, the plastic dissolved and fell into the soil, the wood stake rotted away, and you had, plant it, forget it type thing. Well, that didn't work out too good. Here we are 24 years later, and we still have the plastic, so that didn't work too good. So they say the best lessons are the one you learn the hardest. Well, there's a lot of hard lessons here. One, do not use 4-foot tree shelters, because it comes up here and the deer, it pops out and the deer eat it off. And the next year comes out and the deer eat it off. The next year comes out and the deer eat it off. So 4-foot tree shelters are a waste of time. Don't buy them. If you look close, this one is solid, while these are ventilated. The solid trees, the tree would grow up, you get the first frost, the trees hadn't hardened off, and it would kill the trees back. So they would grow up, they'd get killed, they'd grow up, they'd get killed, and they could never get out of the tree. They could never get out of the tree shelter. So non-ventilated is bad, 4-footers is bad. The other thing is, don't use wooden stakes. These shelters have to stay on 7 to 9 years, you know, and those wood stakes, they rot off. Now, I don't know, maybe if you use locust, you'd be okay, but especially if you use pine stakes, within 2 to 3 years, they're all rotting off. They snap off and fall over and wreck the tree. So I've learned the hard way. The other thing is that you've got to be careful to seal the base, because mice and voles like to crawl in under there. It makes a nice little quiet place to hide, and they will girdle the seedlings while they're staying in the nice pile of leaves and kill your trees. So you go out in the spring and half your trees are dead because of the voles. So there's a lot. I learned everything the hard way, you know, how not to do this. So this is one of the things not to do. So that's kind of some rules I learned. All right. There's volume discounts on these tree shelters. If you when you buy these, they come in. If you buy enough, they come in bundles of 50. Then the 50 come in bundles. Each of those 50 have 10 bundles, have 5 bundles of 10, and they'll come packaged like that. You know, if you're going to do some, if you buy 10, they're like $15 a piece. If you buy 500, they're like $7 a piece. So the key here is to, you know, don't buy 50 a year for 10 years. Buy 500 all at once, throw them out behind your garage, you know, and every year use 50. Because volume is very important to do those things. So these are the Tubex brands. So okay, I think we're going to plant the trees.
Make sure you don't J-root.
Don't J-root it, yeah, not too far. Just get it just right.
You go down, then you come back up a little bit.
Get a good seal on it there. Okay, there's our tree planted. Now this is important. These are triangular tree shelters. These stakes are triangular. You want to put this in here so the point of the triangle is against the stem. You want about 1.5 inches between the base of the tree and the base of the triangle. The hardest part is to get these things perfectly straight. The first one I put up was crooked and I got just razzed mercilessly about it. So I think it looks good. They come with a mark how far you want to go in. There we go, that one's in. Okay, these all come packed flat like this, and you want to pop them back to round. So you need to pop open these holes. Now I'm going to talk about the Cadillac treatment here. And the Cadillac treatment for these is you come in here after you have it, you come in and you cut all of the little side branches off, leaving only the central stem coming up, because you want these trees to grow up as fast as possible. So you have just the central stem like that growing. So then you take your tree shelter. In this case, the tubes go inside the tree shelter. You come down, slide it over, and put her on. Okay, so what you want to do here, probably have to get a little closer to see this. As you give this a little bend on the end like that, and you push these two things in and you stick that in there, and you get in, grab it with your finger, and pull it through. Now here's a little magic. Because you have the flat side out this way, as you pull tight, this tube will round out.
Did you find a YouTube on how to do this, or did you
No, I
just
figured
figure
this one out. Yeah.
No, I mean the whole setup.
Oh, and School of Hard Knocks.
There you go.
The School of Hard Knocks. I should make a YouTube. Oh,
You
well, yes, there will
should.
be a YouTube now, won't there?
Leslie, on one of your tree programs that you had, it was on a sandstone area and it kept the deer away. So I've been putting sandstone around the bottom. Is that,
Oh, I did not do that
you didn't
top.
do that? I thought it was your
No.
place. Oh, okay.
So just like gravel?
Yeah, the ground up, yeah, gravel.
Well,
sand.
whatever
they
seals it.
Yeah.
I use topsoil because then it fills in with grass. Okay, so that gets a good seal on the bottom to keep the voles and mice out. And then you get a much higher survival rate there. But, this is 2% glyphosate. I take this and I will spray around the base. And then I will come out here and kill the grass 2 feet or so out.
You had a dye to
I add dye to this just so I can see where I've been. Now these stakes are nice because you see the first vent holes start way up here. So you got about 8 inches to spray without you won't hitting inside. So that's kind of nice. You could get like that and not hit the tree. So this does a couple things. The grass will grow this high and it keeps the grass from shading the tree. The other thing is because you kill all the sod out this far, there's no roots that far. It removes the root competition to the seedling. For whatever reason, bluebirds think this is a hollow tree or a knothole in a tree, and they will go in here looking at me, and they get trapped and can't get out, which kills the bird and kills the tree usually. Well, I'm not a real big bird lover, but I am a tree lover, so I don't want them both to die. So the way to do that is that you take these bird netting, I guess is the term, and just put that on top. Once the leaves get up about this high or so, you could take that off because then they're not going to go in anymore because it's full. But I usually leave them on 2 years and take them off. And that's the last thing to keep that out.
What supply do you use? As far as there's, forest and there's several different suppliers of this product.
All right, these are Plantra brand tubes.
Okay.
They basically sell the kit, which is the tube, the stake, and the netting and the ties all come together.
They're the name of the supplier?
And you could buy it right from the company, Plantra.
Okay.
You could also buy it from a co-op in Wisconsin, the Golden Sands RC&D.
Okay.
They will sell it a little cheaper than a company will.
Okay.
Almost all of the major seedling companies will carry this brand, though they usually don't have the volume discount.
Okay.
What was it? Golden?
Sands, RC&D. They're
RC
over in Plover.
RC&D stands for Resource Conservation and Development.
They have a marketing agreement with Plantra to encourage, they encourage people to buy them. And they drop ship them right from the plant to your house directly. So all they do is they handle the billing. But it's 5–10% off. I talk about cost. I forget who I told to who, but so if you buy 10 of these, they're like $15 a piece. If you buy 500, they're like $8 a piece. So you try to get volumes here. Okay, next step. Any questions on planting trees and further care of?
What about bees?
The bees.
Bees'
Oh,
nests.
wasps love
Yeah,
these
they
things. And you're real careful to walk up and go like that,
Oh.
because I find out it really hurts when they sting you right in the cheek. because you really don't want that. So you kind of look close, and if you see a big dark shadow here on the side, maybe you don't want to look down that tube, you know. The other problem with the wasp is it encourages the bears to knock the tube over to get at the wasp. And if they're down low, the raccoon will eat holes into these tubes to get them out. So we're going to do things to try to help get rid of that. Okay, when the trees get about 10 feet tall, this one might be 9, you know, I usually try to prune them up.
Did you burn this off? Did you burn this off?
We're going to get to that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we take it off, take the tube. Don't lose them. You pull out your utility knife with a curved blade on the end, hooked blade on the end. Okay, there's the hole here, there's the hole here, there's a little plastic in between. You follow that up. And if you can do this just right, you should be able to go right down between that one. And I messed that one up. Yeah, I hope there's no wasp in that one. An old one.
Booking. I saw that globe. I'm like, I'm out of here.
There were some in there. Those look dead though, don't they?
So was that a seam that's there to be cut, or did you have to?
No, I have to find that carefully.
Are they designed to be cut or designed to be pulled
You know,
off
I
the
have no
top?
idea.
You just cut next to
But
the
I
post,
find if you
right?
cut right between, you can reuse these if you cut right there. So, okay, so, well, there you go. There's a wasp nest. So I go through here and knock all this stuff out of here.
You're brave.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, great job. You can see it in the
Stuff grows in here all the time, huh?
Oh, yeah, there's the grape on the top here.
Well, we're going to remove that right now. It's amazing what will grow inside those tubes sometimes, you know. I know raspberries like to grow inside those tubes. You know. So okay, I get it. I clean it out. Then I come through here and prune off all these little dead branches. Now we are past the oak wilt season, but I usually do this in October, not in August.
A little more comfortable anyway.
Yeah, this is a lot nicer in October than to do it in August. But I'll come through here and snip these all off. Is that all of them? What is that, a white oak?
Yes.
I was going to say that's really flaky bark there, isn't it?
It is.
Too bad I don't have some concentrated glyphosate. I could spray that stump. But. Okay, now you just take this.
Take this one, right here.
Oh, is that too high or not? Will it get in there? Oh, I guess we're all right. So we can turn around, put it right back on.
Deer comes along and rubs it off the potato.
Now, a couple reasons I do this is it gets the tree started on making a clear trunk, you know, for the trimming. It also, if you get that junk out of there, the tree bends more. If it bends more, the wasps don't go in there. So less wasp, less deer problem, less bear problems, less coon problems.
like once a year or more often?
This just gets done once.
Once? Okay.
So then how long are you gonna leave the tube on then?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Well,
I was
really
just paid to
Don't
feed.
screw up his
I was just
plan.
paid to feed.
Don't screw up his plan.
Showing ahead the table of contents.
So that's the the teenage pickup. So by cleaning that up, we got it started to getting it pruned. It also removes the rot, makes it less likely for the wasp to get in there.
I remember when the tree tubes first came out, and people would talk about lifting the tube up and shaking the tree because it was so fragile and whippy that once you took the tube off, it would just fall over. What's different that that's not the case
Well, they
anymore?
call these Sunflex tubes because they're fiberglass. As the wind blows, they will bend, and that helps the tree firm up.
It's the big thing is having your bottom hole that loose.
Yeah, I see. I cut into that one.
I think it might have something to do with the ventilation as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Eventually, they get big enough they don't need the stakes anymore. So I take it off one more time, pull the stake out, and this tree is ready to go. Now, because bucks like to come by and rub their horns on these things, and these beautiful trees they wreck, I then usually take this and put it right back on. And then I just take one of these ties just to keep it going.
There you go. Sounds
Is that what happened to your red oak down there?
I think a bear knocked that over. I'm thinking it had acorns on, and a bear knocked it over.
Are you going to stake it back up
I'm gonna
straight?
stake. I just saw that yesterday. It must have just happened. The bear are probably in here feeding on these berries, and I don't. Do they smell those acorns, or they see them, or? But that one oak got knocked over there.
Are you going to stake it up right now?
No, I got to get a metal post for that one.
Something tougher.
But that was a nice looking tree too. I'm going to try to salvage that one.
You can. I think you can.
I see it's starting to bend up, so it might have been that way longer than I realized. But that's such a big tree, I'm going to have to get a steel fence post for that one. Any questions while we're rolling along here?
When did you plant these?
The spring of 2018. Okay, there's nurse trees here, and over here these are red pine. These are 14 feet apart on this side, and between each one I planted red pine seedlings. And the red pine seedlings are to fill in the unused space, and as they grow up they should help keep the oak trees growing tall and straight and keeping from getting so wide. Because I planted the pines, this was a spruce plantation. You're supposed to wait 2 years after you remove spruce before you plant pines because of the Paley's weevils. Well, in 2 years the grass had got so thick that by the time I planted these pines, they struggled to get out of the thick sod. So they're way behind the oaks. They're 2 years behind to start, and then they've been struggling to get out of the sod, and they're finally just now starting to take off. So, you know, ideally you'd like them both the same height. Now I know, I'm thinking they might catch up in time, but ideally in 30 to 40 years, the pine would be cut for pulp, releasing the oaks to continue to grow as saw timber, and that's the plan. So they're 14 by 14 feet here, and they're 21 by 21 feet over there. So
Is the spruce tree too close? Because it's going to bush out, or you didn't
well,
plant
the spruce trees are they just seeded themselves in.
Oh, they did.
They just left
Okay.
over from the plantation.
that? Okay.
It'll make a nice Christmas tree.
There you go.
Yeah, you can grab them once in a while and do that. Okay, to sum up, do it right at the start. Keep at it. You'll be rewarded with great things, but it's a lot of work and a lot of effort. So again, you know, if you got 50 trees, you could do this. If you got 500 trees, maybe if you got a week to do it. If you got 5,000 trees, there's no way you can do stuff like this. It's just too much. You know, so it's
Now, one gentleman was saying that he used T-posts, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of old fencing I ripped out, so
Right.
I don't buy extra stuff. I use my T-posts.
Do you
But
put
then
it out-
it doesn't bend as easy, so you got to go back and play with tying them off to the T-post versus directly to the stuff.
Do
Because
you put
otherwise
them in the
it just-
outside then, the
Yeah.
T-posts,
Yeah.
and then tie the tube to the T-post?
Yeah, with
Okay.
same like what he's got.
Oh,
but
you
not-
don't put it in the inside though.
no,
No,
these
there
are
you
so skinny. This is the only ones I see that go inside because they're such small posts.
Yeah, unless you got
Stakes.
the white ones that sell Fleet Farm for driveway markers.
There
but
you go.
those are round, and
Yeah.
Right.
then they tend to spin around on those too. So.
But it's kind of, because they're triangular. You know, if you can get the tube against the flat side,
Yeah,
when you
look-
squeeze it tight, it rounds the tube out.
Yeah.
Can't remember if I said that already, but if you lay these out in the sun for a day or two beforehand, they'll round out for you, and you don't have to do it yourself. So that's if you're set up that way.
And what's nice with those too is they're all kind of the same size tube.
Yeah, they're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I've got, I think it's Miracle tubes or something. I bought a big supply 15 years ago. But those are the ones that nest inside each other.
Yeah, and then the small tube, the last one inside is so small you can barely use it.
Yeah, and it's so small, and I also find that the smaller the tube, the more the mice like to build in it because it holds leaves easier and all the rest. So,
Okay.
the bigger ones are, frankly, better suited to not get all full of clogged full
Right.
of junk.
Yeah, the 2X, these 2X were nestled. I think there was five in a bunch inside, and that's another thing I didn't like about them. So I would never buy them. I don't even know if they make those anymore, but I would never buy them again.
Yeah, it's pretty much all vented these days. But
Yeah. But yeah, the non-wood stake, ventilated tube, 5 feet high, seal the base. That's kind of the four rules to make this work. So I think the spraying helps because they grow a lot faster if you keep the sod under control.
Yeah, grass is terrible. Broadleaf's no biggie, but grass is not good.
Okay, we got quite a bit of time here. I think you'll be talking faster and faster the more of these I go through. Any questions?
So I'm going to ask you something that's not even related to trees, because I noticed the blue stem you got around here. Did you plant that, or is that
No,
something-
that's native.
that's native here? So
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I don't know what previous owners did.
Oh.
It might have come in with that farm company. That farmer 50 years ago might have been in his mix. He planted some pasture or something. So who knows where that came from? No, but that's always been here since I bought the property. That little patch. Actually, the road went right through the patch of it, so there's a little bit left on each side, but
Have you had any problem with mice in these?
not when I do all that. I think of the 110 I planted here, I lost one tree.
Yeah, I think killing the
good.
grass around it kind of keeps. They don't like crossing bare dirt or whatever.
So I don't know if it's the dirt or the spray or the combination but
Yeah.
as I say, this is the Cadillac treatment. They really getting you're getting the ultimates here, but
So who will reap the benefits of this? Because obviously you're not going to be the harvester.
no, I'm 72 years old.
I was
You
thinking
know.
the same thing. Whenever it comes
Yeah,
to
when your
fruition.
grandkid's gonna worry about it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They'll clear cut the whole thing.
Hopefully.
Well, you got to be somewhat tree crazy to do stuff like this,
Yeah.
anyways. Who knows? The next owner could come by and say, "Oh, that'll make a nice food plot for a deer." Well, bring in a bulldozer and whack
Rip
it
it
all
out.
down,
Yep, yeah.
grind it all up, and we'll plant it to a rye. And that could very well. Well, small trees will be easy to root out of the ground. So that could easily happen. So, I mean, all I can do is do what I can do while I'm alive, and and take it from there. So, I hope whoever buys it down the line, realizes what they have here, and is willing to see it through to the end.
Do you have anybody in your family that's interested in carrying on your tradition?
Not really,
I met them. They think He's as crazy as I am.
He's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy old man.
Yeah, that loves trees.
you know, I have friends and extended relatives who are vastly interested in this. But I mean, my son doesn't hunt, and he's not really interested in trees. My daughter moved to Colorado, so I mean, nothing's going to happen there.
Right, right.
So you know, the guys who hunt this are just crazy about it. You know, but they're not family. So I mean, they may end up buying it. You know, which would please me greatly. You know,
Sure.
because they're absolutely fanatics about it. You know, but I mean, my gosh, 184 acres. What is that? You know, $600,000.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something somebody just picks up and says, you know, hey, we want a weekend retreat. You got $700,000, you know?
Right, right.
But if you have a group,
Yeah, you could have a group. That's probably what would happen.
And
If
like-
the state is your one unit, that's what would
you
happen.
know, like one lady told me, I was buying property. She says, you know, you might not have the money, but the bank does.
Well, it's like the hunting group. It's, you know, it's three. If it's three families, maybe they get
Yeah,
together and,
yeah.
and try to swing it, you know? So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, this is amazing work.
It's a lot
Most
of
of us do not do this.
That's a lot.
It's a little
Well,
hard work.
how many
He's a
people
tree
bud
farmer
cap
of the
white
year.
pine, you know?
Yeah, I've seen that.
How many
seen that on
people
your
spray
property.
weevils? You know, spray for weevils. You know, 2 people in the state, maybe. I mean, how many people put a shovel full of dirt around every tree shelter? You know,
don't,
you know,
don't you on the white pines? You said you put the little caps
Bud
on them?
caps, yeah.
Bud caps. That's just paper,
I've
right?
seen that. I've seen that on Ross's
elsewhere,
property.
have you seen that elsewhere?
On your another piece of property that you have.
Besides me.
No.
See,
No,
nobody
no,
does
I've
it.
only
yeah,
seen
see,
it
no,
with you.
nobody does it. So
Yeah.
there you go. So, and I can see why you don't do it. I mean, it's again, I'm 72 years old. I mean, you're trying to grow, you know, magnificent white pine trees. They're going to take 80 to 120 years before they're ready. I mean, that's not me. That's not my kids. That's not my grandkids. That's my great grandkids. You know, the person who cuts those won't even know the name of the person who planted them. You know. They'll just say, geez, there was, you know, that was a nice run of logs that came off that field.
Good dollar signs.
Yeah, good dollar signs. Yeah, I went over there and took that lot off of Marinette County. Boy, that was some really nice oak trees. You know, we sawed in down there till they were 2 inches, you know, to the core, and there was no knots in there. You know, best log I've sawed in 20 years, you know. I should get some more of them, you know.
You could always sell it to that hunters group and put a covenant on it and just say. You know,
Well, I don't
that's-
know if this would, I mean, northern Hardwood is not the best deer hunt properties, you know. But as these oaks get bigger, I would think this would become a better
Acorns.
deer hunting location.
Acorns, deer love acorns.
Yeah.
Hunters know that.
Have you ever considered a conservation easement?
No, I really haven't. I've kind of looked into them, but
Because under conservation easements, you know, supposedly, you know, laws can change, et cetera, but they're protected forever, and basically there's an agreement between you and the organization that holds the conservation easements as to how that's going to be managed.
well, you know, that's something I might consider. You know, probably once I get in the ground, you know, 6 feet under, it's kind of hard to sign those
It's a
things
little
anymore.
late.
Yeah, then you're a little late to do it. But,
Yeah, a little late at that
I
point.
met with those folks and it was kind of confusing. It was real confusing. So I don't know if you have to go through a consultant to talk with them or what the deal was, but it.
Well, you probably want to go through an attorney. I'm on the board of Landmark Conservancy, which is in northwestern Wisconsin.
Okay.
And you know, it's basically a legal document, so
Right.
you'd want to definitely have an attorney. You know,
But you lose all control of the property.
no, you don't. You don't
Not
lose-
anymore?
It's an agreement. Basically.
well, your development rights. You're giving up.
Yeah,
your
you're giving up
development
development rights or other rights, whatever.
Whatever you
know,
wish,
it
yeah.
could be, you know, it could be the right to manage in a way that's different from a management plan. So that could be one of those rights you're giving up as well.
So is it a tax benefit or?
It
yeah,
can
what's
be.
your benefit?
Yeah, the tax benefit could be the difference in fair market value between what it was before you put the easement on and what it was after you put the easement on. And of course, you got to get an appraiser, qualified
Right.
appraiser, to do that assessment. The conservancy will not do that assessment for you, so that's on you to do that. But yeah, that would be deductible as a charitable contribution, because obviously it's not worth as much, because you can't put your $1 million house on it, because that, you know, it's not allowed under that agreement. so it's gonna be worth
Well, you know,
it.
who knows what the future holds?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's nothing that's absolute.
Right.
You know, so we say that it's protected forever, but it may not be, but it's certainly a step closer to that.
Yeah.
than
Well,
what-
I mean,
what you would
my
be.
son could inherit it, lease it off to the deer hunters. You know, that could go on for 50 years,
Right,
and by
right.
that time, everything has changed.
Right.
And you're
right.
not going to care.
And it could be worth $2 million by then.
Sure,
Who knows?
sure, right,
And that's the problem with all that are my age. When we bought our land, it was reasonable prices, and now the stuff is so expensive, that almost nobody can do it anymore. I mean, for especially a working class family to get a 40 up north, there's just no way.
Right. Right.
I mean, when I was growing up, everybody who worked at the assembly plant in General Motors had 40 acres in a cabin up north. And working class people working on the assembly line could afford that. Well,
Not anymore.
nobody could do that now.
Yeah.
Nobody could do that now. So in a way, that's all sad. So who knows what the future is. But I mean, I hope I could turn this into very high quality oaks. They will also double as a very useful wildlife, source of acorns. And of course, there's 3 different acorns here. So you're 3 different species of oak here. So there should always be something going. So that's all we're hoping. I guess I'm just tree crazy. I mean, most of us in WOA and other groups like this, Tree Farm, are just tree crazy.
Did you ever think of, and I always thought of doing this too, and I never have, of having somebody burn some nice metal signs planted in 2016 or 2018 and driving
Well,
those
yeah,
in
that
so
would be nice.
I mean, so that people in the future could see that, like some of my plantations, 1952, and they would go, wow, it's just,
I've
It'd
seen
be
landowners
nice.
do that.
Yeah,
Throw
it-
plaques out
yeah.
when they planted things. That'd be kind of.
And you get some,
So
That'd
when
be
the
good.
oral tradition is gone, you have the mental tradition
right,
of the
Yeah.
sign.
Whoever owns it next.
Yeah.
or buy, something like that, that's thought process.
Well, I mean,
might
I
have.
think of the guy with a horse and a mule, or a horse and dynamite, was clearing this land, this 2 acres here, so he could have some small. I don't know what he's trying to grow here. Potatoes, probably.
And he's rolling over in his grave because some fool planted trees.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
go
You guys so much work that way.
spend his whole summer grubbing out stumps.
Yeah.
Out of it,
Yeah,
planting trees
planting
in.
them
Yeah.
again.